I am known as Deganawida, the Peacemaker. I lived many generations ago, around the late 14th and early 15th centuries, among the peoples you now call the Haudenosaunee, in a time before modern nations, when decisions about land, trade, leadership, and survival were made face to face. The nations I traveled between were not strangers. They shared rivers, forests, and families. They argued over boundaries, responsibilities, and the future. Sometimes those arguments became violent, but violence was not the cause of our troubles. It was the result of councils that could no longer carry disagreement without breaking trust. I watched meetings where leaders spoke with urgency but little care. I saw voices fall silent not because people agreed, but because speaking had become dangerous. Decisions were made quickly, and those decisions did not last. People returned to their villages unconvinced, unprepared, and unwilling to carry what had been decided. What I learned was this: the hardest work is not stopping conflict. It is helping people decide together in a way they can live with. So we changed how we gathered. We formed councils in circles so no one stood above another. We slowed the pace when emotions rose. We required that every nation be heard before any decision could move forward. We did not rush to agreement. We waited for readiness. This way of meeting was not only for times of anger, it was used to decide how land would be shared, how leaders would be chosen, how future generations would be protected. The great law of peace did not remove disagreement. It made long-term thinking possible. Those who held the council were not chosen for their strength or eloquence. They were chosen because they could keep the circle intact when the questions were difficult. Their work was to sense when the room was tightening, when it needed time, and when a decision could be carried without regret. You would call them facilitators. We called them caretakers of the council. This is why the Confederacy endured, not because peace was declared once, but because judgment was practiced every time people met. I look at your world and see familiar struggles, decisions made too quickly, commitments demanded before understanding, people asked to choose before they are ready to carry the consequences. You call this many things. I would call it councils that have forgotten how to wait. Remember this: a gathering is not successful because it ends with a decision. It is successful because the people can live with that decision afterward. If a room cannot hold disagreement, it cannot hold the future. The work is not speaking. The work is holding people together long enough for wisdom to appear.